Hello, Packers fans, wherever you may be. It's time for another edition of the Pack Attack Cast. Today, we're going to give you a summary of the first week of training camp, the first 4 days of practice, the owners' meeting, and what it felt like to be in Green Bay for this week. Very excited about this week. And to give you a quick little summary, but first of all, please give us a like for this video and a subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000 before week 1, and we're already at 3,500, which is a great start after just a couple months of this channel. So thank you to all of you who have given us a subscription and or a like, and hopefully you can do that again today. Very excited to come back home after a week in Green Bay for training camp. We were able to attend the first 3 training camps, days which were open to the public. I also attended the owners' meeting. Very excited to give you my thoughts on all of those things. But first, we got the new merch. So very excited that they happened to drop the 23 series of jerseys while we were there in Green Bay. No doubt this was intentionally done on the first week of training camp and for the owners meeting, because these things were actually put out for purchase on Friday, on the 3rd day of training camp and right before the owners meeting. And these were flying off the shelves. So very excited here. I have the, let me get this straight. One second. I have the classic navy blue and brown game jersey. There's also a limited edition classic limited jersey that is much more expensive, but it actually has leather patches here and here. Really cool looking jersey. I just couldn't justify the additional price, so I went with the classic. But it's a really good look. I'm excited to see the Packers play in this. Apparently they're going to play in this in at least one home game this year as an alternate jersey. I thought it would be cool if they played it on the road against the Steelers, since they're wearing their alternate jerseys for that game. But apparently there's a rule that you can only wear the alternate jerseys when you're at home. So it's going to be a home game, maybe week 1. I don't know. They haven't announced when it's going to be. I would love to see them in this look on week 1. I think it would be a great tone setter for the season to go back to those 1923 roots and play the Lions. So we're going to have to see really what happens there as far as when they announce it. I'm sure they'll announce it a couple weeks before, but grab these if you can. They are probably going to be hard to come by. Probably by the time the season starts, it's going to be very hard to pick these up. Not only because they're limited edition, but they're a really cool, unique look for the Green Bay Packers. And I don't think a lot of these are going to end up on the secondary market. I'm sure there's some people who bought 2 or 3 so they could put them on eBay. But once that supply disappears, it's going to be very hard to find these on the secondary market. And I'm not sure how long the Pro Shop will have this. You cannot get this on NFL.com. I checked. It looks like it's only available right now through the Pro Shop for the Green Bay Packers. And important note here, all of the sales for the Green Bay Packers, if you are a Packers fan, if you go through the Pro Shop, I know it's a little bit more expensive. I've had this debate with myself for quite some time, but in my stadium tour that I took with in Green Bay this week, they assured us that all of the profits that go from the Packers Pro Shop go directly into the team's operations. So it's just another way, in addition to being a shareholder, that you can actually support the team with your revenue directly. So it is a little pricier at the pro shop. I spent far too much money at the pro shop while I was there. But it's just a fun thing to do. I mean, we were at that pro shop probably every day that we went in um, to training camp and or the owners meetings, just because it's a fun place to be. It's like a Packers for Disneyland if you've never been to the pro shop in person. It's really a fun place to be. So just setting the scene, it's been probably a decade since I've been to training camp for the Packers. I've been to Green Bay, I've been to games, but the training camp environment is so amazing. It's kind of like going to a high school game, kind of like a homecoming game. The crowd is so passionate about the team. People were lining up to get into the practice a good 2 hours, myself included, before the practice started. There were giveaways and freebies and all kinds of cool things. There was lots of charity stuff there. It was just a great environment. It made you feel like you were at home with a bunch of people that were very passionate about your team. So if you've never gone to a Packers training camp, I really encourage you guys to put it on your bucket list for the future, either in the next couple weeks or maybe next year if it's something you need to plan out. It was definitely a great experience. One of the things I love about going to Green Bay is it is just Middletown America, and I mean that in the best way. You're driving down Oneida Street, and it's just this small little town with houses on the left and small businesses on the right, and then you turn around a corner and there's Lambeau Field right there in the middle of this really small town. There's no logical reason that that stadium should be in this small town, but there it is, and it's just amazing experience. Um, it should not exist, but Packers fans and the NFL are so lucky that the Green Bay environment and community does exist. Everywhere you go, it's Packers gear, it's Packers colors. Everybody's enthusiastic about their Green Bay Packers. It's just like a magical land, and I've been to many training camps before, but I've never been to one quite like this. You drive up to the parking lots, and there's attendance there for training camp and the owners meetings, and you're like, okay, here we go. Here's where they're going to ask me for $20 for parking, and they're like, no, totally free. Just go ahead and park wherever you want. Here's where I would suggest. Have a good time. Like, there's no cash grab from this team, other than the pro shop, but again, that's understandable. It's all about welcoming in their fans in the whole community. Titletown is a great addition that they put in since the last time I was there. It's a really fun place to hang out, have some dinner, do some shopping. And again, Titletown is a development that was developed by the Green Bay Packers. So all the dollars that go into the vendors there, a portion of that is going back to the Green Bay Packers. So it's really an exciting, fun thing to be in this environment for 4 days. I had a blast, and I want to thank everybody at Green Bay for being just so welcoming and such a great group of people. So let's jump into the actual training camp observations from the 3 days of camp I could attend. Now, there's been an update this morning from week 4 of camp, but a lot of that really echoed what I saw in the first 3 days. So if you want a summary of the first 4 days of training camp, you're going to get it here, because everything I heard from the 4th day really echoed what I saw in the first 3 days. This team is truly practicing like a well-oiled team in front of a capacity crowd every day. I saw plenty of high fives between the players, bro hugs. When a big play was made, the side of the ball that made the big play was excited and was high fiving and doing dances. It was like it was a in-game atmosphere. Everybody was pumped. Everybody was excited to be there, and there was a lot of hard competition on both sides. The 3 days that I saw practice, there was not any pads. That will start on Monday. But they were competing at a high level, both at unit drills and in 11 drills, in a good-spirited way. There were push-ups when one side won a series and the other side lost. There was a lot of enthusiasm, and this team feels like it is ready to succeed this year. There was a well-oiled machine. Everybody was going where they had to go, when they had to go. It was well-coordinated. There was music pumping to set the tone and get the blood pumping. It was just a fun place to be. Jordan Love is in command of this team. Jordan Love looks very comfortable in his role as a leader. He was constantly high-fiving his teammates. He was giving bro hugs. There was lots of leadership from Jordan Love. I also saw him on several occasions when he was not on the field. It looked like he was coaching up either wide receivers or the other quarterbacks on the unit, talking about what they needed to do, where they needed to go on the field. Jordan Love was fully engaged with this team as a leader. One of the things in 2023 we didn't see it, but it's not a surprise. It was first year as a starter. In 2024, I feel like we saw some of that leadership, but he was also dealing with injuries the whole season. Everything is set up for Jordan Love to be a successful leader this year. He's healthy right now. He got married over the summer on the off season. He just looks like he is ready to lead this team in a way that it really reminded me of Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Brett Favre, in the few times that I got to see him in practice, was more of a kind of a introspective, do his own thing kind of way. He hung out with his buddies on the offensive line, but he wasn't like a leader for leader's sake. Aaron Rodgers, for all of our mixed feelings about Aaron Rodgers towards the end, was a great general on the field. He was meticulous. He worked hard with his team to get the most out of them. And he was friendly with some of his teammates, but I think he rubbed some of his teammates the wrong way with his personality. I see Jordan Love as a culmination of leadership. He shows a lot of the stuff I saw from Aaron Rodgers as far as coaching his teammates, being a leader, but also he has this genuine, casual, friendly nature about him that I think the rest of his teammates really value. Most importantly to me, Jordan Love was mobile in these practices. I saw him more mobile in those practices than I saw him in all of 2024. He was running bootlegs. He was running keepers. He was moving around in the pocket the way we saw at the end of 2023. So I'm very excited about Jordan Love. He really looks the part of the leader, as I said. On the last day of camp, ESPN was there, and they got Jordan Love along with Josh Jacobs into the area where they were doing interviews. And what I loved about Jordan Love is he was enthusiastic about the entire team when he was on camera. He said, sometimes the offense looks great, sometimes the defense looks great, And it's all about the team for him. It's not him being upset because maybe Valentine intercepted him, or he saw something, wide receiver run the wrong routes and the defense won that series. He was very clearly excited about the fact that the whole team was playing well. He called out the offense for playing well at times. He called the defense out for playing well in practice. He really was showing that he wants this team to be successful. He knows the defense has to play well, and he's not upset when the defense wins a series. He just shakes it off and goes to the next series and tries to do better. Jordan Love, I saw glimpses of Jordan Love in 2023 in these practices. Prime Jordan Love is back in the building. Were there some throws that were kind of not the best throws? Yes, but he was actually letting his guys, his wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs try to make plays. And I saw Aaron Rodgers do an interview with the Steelers, and I think it really encompasses this well. Sometimes you have to get bad throws out of your system in training camp. Sometimes you want to just throw some stuff in there and see what happens, to see if your guys can win against the defense and do things that you wouldn't do in a regular game. I have supreme confidence that a healthy Jordan Love is going to protect the ball when it matters most. But he's also a Brett Favre gunslinger at times, and we don't want to lose that. So I'm very excited about what I saw from Jordan Love in every practice. His leadership, his mobility, his arm, his ability to run this offense is on full display. And I think Jordan Love is primed for a good year. A couple videos ago, I asked AI to simulate the 2025 season if Jordan Love was playing as a top 5 quarterback. What I saw in practice tells me Jordan Love can be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and I am excited to see him run this team. There's so many things I'm excited about, but I do want to focus a little bit on Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden is going to be an impactful wide receiver. Everything I saw in practice tells me that Jordan Love and Matthew Golden have a great connection, and Matthew Golden is such a dynamic player. He is not going to let them ease him into this offense. Is he going to be a number 1 receiver for the Packers? No, I don't think that's going to happen this year. But is he going to make enough plays that he is a big addition to this offense? 100%. He did not let the ball drop when it was thrown to him that I saw, except for a bad punt that was actually punted short, and he didn't make it to the ball in time. That was the only time I saw Matthew Golden let the ball hit the ground where he had the opportunity to make a catch. Were there contested catches by the defense that caused the incompletion? Yes. But when Matthew Golden was open and the ball was right in his breadbasket, it was a catch. Whether it was individual drills, team drills, or 11 on 11, if he had an open opportunity to catch the ball, it was a completion. Romeo Doubs also looks very primed for a great year this year. I think Romeo Doubs is right under the radar for this team as well. Every time I saw him on the field, he was competing hard. He was making good completions. He was making great plays. Romeo Doubs is not going to go away. And Romeo Doubs is going to be a factor for this team in 2025. He's not going to get traded away because the player I saw on the field in training camp is so good that the Green Bay Packers are not going to let a player like that go for a low draft pick in 2026. Romeo Doubs is going to be a major factor. Reed was very solid. Wicks was making great plays. This wide receiver group did not let a lot of balls hit the ground. As I said, there were contested plays where the ball hit the ground, but when the receiver had the chance to make a big play, it wasn't dropped. It was caught, and the big play was made. So I'm very excited to see the drops be significantly mitigated from what I saw in training camp. So I'm very excited about that. Now let's look at the defensive side of the ball. Defense won 2 of the 3 days I was there decisively. That doesn't mean the offense wasn't making big plays, but consistently there was pressure on the pocket, which was impressive without pads, and the corners and safeties were making plays. Nixon, Hobbs, Valentine, McKinney were all making plays at the right time. All of our young corners, including Bo Melton, who switched to corner during this training camp, were aggressive, effective, and they were good against a good group of corners. I'm very excited about what this secondary is going to be able to do. This secondary is going to be able to hold their own as long as the defensive line can cause pressure. Let's talk about the coaching here. As you can expect, Matt LaFleur was everywhere in practice, leading the drills, coaching his players up, talking to the GM on a consistent basis. There was a lot of good stuff going on for the sorry, my dogs are going crazy about something right now. Matt LaFleur was all around the field. He was leading people. He was coaching things up. He was talking to the GM. He was doing everything that the coach needed to do. But I was really excited to see Jeff Hafley coaching his guys on defense. He was very active in practice, coaching his unit. Sometimes he was acting as the quarterback with the DBs while they were doing their drills and calling out what the DBs should be looking at while he simulated passes. This is a very hands-on defensive coordinator. I really loved to see what I saw from Jeff Hafley. This defense is ready to take the field, and I think that they're going to shake out who the starters are going to be at corner and safety, and this defense is going to be ready to rock and roll. I'm excited to see this unit continue to be competitive in practice and competitive in the preseason and regular season. One thing I saw, my good friend Andy Herman predicted that the Packers might be undefeated in the preseason, for whatever that's worth, and I'm actually starting to agree with him. From what I saw in practice, the depth on this Packers team is going to lead to some really good play in the preseason. I know you're going to say that doesn't matter that much, but it actually matters a lot what happens in the preseason for this team, because we want to see the depth at defensive line and corner as well as the wide receivers in preseason. And this team has so many mouths to feed that I think the preseason is really going to allow some really good results. Malik Willis looks great in practice. I am 100% confident that Malik Willis is even better than he was last year as the backup quarterback. We're really lucky to have a Malik Willis as our backup quarterback, and I think he's going to be fully successful. Sean Clifford and Elgersma both looked up and down, but overall, they looked very solid for third quarterbacks against a really good defense. And I think that whoever ends up being the third quarterback is a quarterback that we could rely on in crunch time. Let's finally talk about the offensive line. I was actually fortunate enough all 3 days that I was at training camp, the offensive line was doing their unit drills right in front of me, and I got to see them in action every practice. With Elton Jenkins out with a back injury and Aaron Banks limited due to a back injury, although he did return on Sunday, it has allowed other players to get in time with the number ones. Jordan Morgan got time at guard quite a bit. Monk was seeing time at guard and center. I saw lots of friendly competition and energy with this squad when they were doing unit drills in front of me all day. I think when Elton Jenkins slides in there and Aaron Banks is fully healthy, we'll start to see the unit gel and we'll get a clear feeling about who are the number ones, who are the number twos. But there is so much depth on this offensive line that I feel very confident that we can make it through the season with an injury or two, because they're probably going to happen, and still be very successful with the offensive line. One thing I would like to say is Luke Butkus is a fun coach to watch in practice. He is the offensive line coach, and I saw him engaged with all of his players on each rep. Even a good rep resulted in some coaching from Coach Butkus. And a bad rep resulted in, I'll call it, flowery conversations. He really is a great line coach, and I'm very excited about seeing what he can do for this team. So overall, in training camp, this team feels ready to go. We're returning 19 of 22 starters, and 2 of the starters that left were actually upgraded. So I feel very confident that this roster, with practicing against itself every day, iron sharpens iron, we've got a great offense playing against a great defense, and it was just really fun to watch. So let's switch now over quickly to the owners' meeting. The owners' meeting was Saturday, and it was an amazing experience. Roughly 20,000 people were there. That's just my counting, roughly. I didn't check for the official count. Might have been more than that. But it was a well-deserved victory lap for Mark Murphy as he handed the reins to Ed Policy, who seems well-suited for the role. The Packers were in good hands. The shareholders were excited and enthusiastic about this team, but I think they're cautiously optimistic. I would love to see this team give its shareholders what it deserves, which is a winning season, at least to the NFC Championship. That is kind of my goal for the Packers this year. And I feel like the Packers should strive for at least getting to the NFC Championship game this year. I think that's well within the realm. I think if this team plays as well as it can, a Super Bowl is certainly in the offering. And how cool will it be to go to that owners meeting if they win the Super Bowl this year? I'm very excited about that. Brian Gutekunst gave us a summary of the 2024 season and set the table by talking about the roster in 2025 in general, and seems very positive about what the roster can do this year. So I'm very excited about the Packers after spending 4 days in Green Bay. I'm excited about what I saw in practice. I'm excited about what I saw about the fans. I think this has the makings to be a really special year for your Green Bay Packers. So that's it for the first 3 days of practice. The 4th day of practice was closed to the public, but it was, from what I heard, very similar to what I saw the first 3 days. Now, today, on Monday, is going to be the first day with padded practice where things are really going to get a little bit more real in practice. The gloves are going to come off. There's going to be more competition. There's going to be more physicality. There could be potentially more injuries. That's something we got to watch in training camp. And in fact, one closing comment here. Nate Hobbs was very physical and aggressive in his play style. I really liked it, seeing it in practice. He plays every rep like it's in the game. He was at times so physical that Matt LaFleur actually called him aside and yelled at him a couple times for being so physical with the receivers for the Packers. But I actually am happy to see this because no wide receivers were injured, and it actually showed me that Hobbs is a real competitor and a gamer on every rep, even in practice. So I'm very excited about his potential to be our outside corner. So that's going to wrap it up for this edition. I'll be back this evening with another video where I'm going to wrap up a summary of the first practice in pads. So give us a like and subscribe if you want to see that hit your inbox as soon as it drops. We'll see you later.